Yo, what's going on, everybody? Happy day after Chromakopia. My review is not coming yet because honestly, hey, it's going to be at least a week that I want to get very deep into it, get deep into all these tracks, talk about their concepts, talk about the different themes that Tyler brings throughout this album, because there is a lot of themes about aging, about maturing, about Tyler owning who he is as a person, about Tyler not wanting to be in any relationships, about him being conflicted about having children. There's a lot of stuff going on here, but this is just going to be some first reaction thoughts. I've listened to this album 4 times so far in a couple of different settings, and I love that that Chromacopia is just like a reflection of where Tyler's at right now. If you watched my predictions video, you saw that I thought this was going to be more of like a storytelling type of thing, and it is. I thought it was going to be about Tyler's past, but this is really about who Tyler is in the moment. He's not playing any type of character. He's not telling any story other than about the person who he is. The production, the sonics here are incredible. Let me just tell you, we get a nice blend of like super like uplifting synthy ballad instrumentals, but we also get some very hard-hitting, kind of West Coast inspired snappy beats that just come right at you, like on Ratata, for example, which is just in your face, super brash production, and it's impressive how good of a job Tyler really does walking these 2 lines throughout the album, and it's consistent in his content matter as well, where on these more triumphant tracks, Tyler is very braggadocious. He is very much owning who he is in a different way. He is owning the confident, cocky, in-your-face, successful, super creative person that he is, where in some of these more not somber, but some of these slower, more honest and revealing moments, he's owning who he is, maybe from a not negative standpoint, but he's owning different parts of himself that aren't so superficial or braggadocious. Chromacopia does a great job of giving you where Tyler is at, Tyler the creator, of course, is at in his life, how he feels about a lot of things. And yeah, going to talk about some of my favorite tracks, some of my favorite moments throughout this album so far. Like I said, this is going to be on the quick side. Just wanted to get something out there to talk about this album because I really do love it so much already. It's really resonating with me, and it'll be resonating with me a lot this week as I listen to it and before I write my review and upload it to YouTube. Like I said, that's going to be on the lengthier side. Expect that to come in at least 45 minutes because I'm going to do my homework on that. I'm going to get deep. But right now, just some like off-the-cuff feelings. I really enjoy the extended version of Saint Chroma. I think it's a great opener to this album that does a great job of kind of blending these things I talk about, where the instrumental itself is high-paced, but it's also like very vibey. You get great Daniel Caesar vocals on here, and Tyler's giving you intense raps, but he's also whispering, and his delivery is soft. So it's a great balance of super passionate and braggadocious, but also, like I said, these other things where it's not in your face and where it's more monotone, I would say, compared to some of these other tracks, which are super colorful and all over the place with their productions and sound. Noid was, of course, the only single released on DSPs. I love that track. This song is really good. I like the Paul and Ghazi sample to use. I love the way that Tyler is singing. I love the subject matter about him struggling to find privacy in his life. And I think it's a super great song. Holds up very well still. Now, Darling I is one of my favorite moments on this album. This is Tyler, again, owning himself. And you get some great Tizo touchdown backing vocals as well as throughout the chorus here. But Tyler is owning the fact that he is just, quite frankly, not in a place where he wants to be in a relationship. And he doesn't try to sugarcoat it as that he's necessarily like better than a relationship, and how it's almost like a lot of other rappers make tracks like this, but it's in a completely different vein where he's not just rapping about wanting to sleep with a bunch of women, but he raps about getting different things from different relationships and how he's not ready to settle down, how he's getting old, but forever is still a very long time, and how he wants to be able to still have all these different types of special relationships and try and make special connections with people, but he's not ready to saddle up for the long haul. He doesn't want to take away from his craft, from his self, from his time in the fashion world, because like he says, he's not ready. And it's almost very reminiscent to me of someone like John Cena, actually, who has said in interviews many times that he doesn't want to have kids at this point in his life, and he doesn't know if he's going to, because he's fully dedicated to acting and to living his life, and he thinks he'd be a bad father and a bad parent if he were to have a kid right now, because he would be reluctant to pull away from that. And that's kind of the same vibe Tyler's getting here, where he talks about he might end up lonely with his Grammys, but the music is what he wants to give the most or it's what he gets the most from, I should say. It's what gives him the most in his life. Hey Jane, track that subject matter wise is very reminiscent of J. Cole's song Lost Ones, which is probably over 10 years old at this point. It was on the Sideline story. But you just get this track where Tyler's kind of talking about being in the situation. And I obviously don't know if this is like a hypothetical scenario song or if this is something that Tyler, the creator, actually experienced in real life. But he gets a woman pregnant, and that's the track. He gives his perspective on what he wants to do, how he feels, while also respecting that is fully the woman's choice. And he admits that throughout the song. As this is called Hey Jane, this is fully Jane's choice and that he's going to support her no matter what. And then you get the second verse, which is from Jane's perspective, where she kind of gives her own thing, where she's like, Tyler, like, I've had to, you know what I mean? I want to keep the kid. I'm getting old, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to have a child again. And it's okay to me if you aren't fully a part of this life of his. Like, I was raised by a single parent, you were raised by a single parent, and so was my mother, and it's something that I could handle and that I could do, and I don't need your money, and I can make my own money. Where Tyler talks about wanting to maintain this relationship but being reluctant to give up what he has, kind of topics that he touched on Darling I, but now he's putting it into a real life scenario. Incredible storytelling track. I love the different perspectives from Tyler, the creator, and I think this is one of his best written songs ever because of that. Judge Judy is another super melodic, super vibey track that I really enjoy, and again, we see Tyler in this kind of romantic space where he talks about the importance of not judging people, and he frames it through, again, this like pseudo storytelling track where it's not like a super coherent story, but he does tell a story about him and this woman Judy and their romantic expenditures, and how he wants to end up with her, how he doesn't want to end up with her forever, but he values her relationship a lot and all that stuff, and how she, you know, also values their relationship but wants to go back to London. Like, again, it's very deep, and it's talking about some of these themes he brings up but putting it in a real life scenario. And I think this track is more so about the idea of the importance of not judging people, since people are so judgmental. Because another very clear theme throughout this album is the importance of embracing yourself and being yourself proudly, being yourself without any shame or anything like that. And I feel like this idea of not judging people kind of goes hand in hand with being yourself, because people are afraid to be themselves because they're afraid of being judged. So these two themes that Tyler is dragging throughout here are linked up, and it's why Judge Judy is kind of a pivotal track on this album, very important. I also, let me scroll back up, where is it? I forgot to mention Ratata. I like that track. I just wanted to mention that this is the track where Tyler says that he's the biggest out the West since Kendrick Lamar. I enjoy the braggadocio on this track. I enjoy the in-your-face energy. And honestly, he's faxing. He really is. This is a huge year for the West Coast. I said that the West was on top of hip-hop after we got Kendrick defeating Drake and Blue Lips by Schoolboy Q and Dark Times by Vince Staples. I was like, all right, this is the West's year. But now Tyler, of course, is coming through with another, let's be honest, album of the year contender. Ab-Soul also has an album coming. So this is a big year for TDE, big year for the West as a whole. And you love to see it. You love to see it. Sticky was a very cool track. It is, again, this very abrasive, in-your-face energy. It's kind of all over the place. It's a little messy, but I enjoy the very short but sweet performances from Glorilla, Sexy Red, and Lil Wayne. I think all three of these, you know, like 4 to 8 bars are very solid. And yeah, this is just a fun in-your-face track. I heard someone driving by my window the other day bumping this. I heard a couple of people bumping CHROMAKOPIA driving by my window, just to put that out there. Everyone's getting in the spirit. Take Your Mask Off, I feel like it's kind of like the most thematic track of this album. Again, this goes hand in hand with the idea of Judge Judy, where, again, on that track, Tyler was singing about how he was able to get this great relationship and experience and friendship and bond kind of randomly just because he refuses to judge people. And how the idea is kind of like, maybe if he did, he wouldn't have been in this position. And now we got Take Your Mask Off, where Tyler, again, is giving you great verses, several great verses from other people's perspectives, like a suburban gangbanger and a closeted priest, and what seems to be a depressed mother who lost herself in her family and is looking for identity. Because the point of this song is, like it says, to take your mask off. He's talking about how you don't gotta, like, to the suburban kid who's pretending to be a gangbanger, you don't want to mess up your life trying to earn the respect of people. Just be yourself. He's talking about how the priest is a lot sadder because he hides himself because he's afraid of being punished by God for his sexual choices. And it's these very interesting perspectives where, again, the main point here is that Tyler wants people to just be themselves and stop trying to fit in and stop trying to put the mask on. The mask was a major part of the rollout for this album. On his Maverick with Mav interview, I believe it was, he says that people are becoming so homogenized because of the internet that and this is obviously like a simile, but not, and this is obviously like an exaggeration, but he said he thinks people will all be the same color in a few years. So the point of this album, it's why I think the point of this album, I should say, is to be yourself. That's always been a big part of Tyler's music, and I think it's truer here now more than ever. And Take Your Mask Off encapsulates that. I should say real quick, I'm not talking a lot about the production, but the production is very great throughout this album. Another track, Thought I Was Dead with Schoolboy Q, and apparently Santi Gold, who has some vocals, but this is just a straight up banger. We got part of this on Instagram before the album dropped. Schoolboy Q's verse is great. Tyler's verse is also great, and I just love everything he's saying. This feels like him just being unabashedly himself. He's talking his shit and not caring about the consequences that there might be. Just kind of getting some shit off his chest in a super aggressive and super fun manner. I really like this song. Hardcore banger, one of the best on this album. Now, the track Like Him, again, is a super personal moment here where Tyler's kind of tapping into his younger self to talk about his longing for his father growing up. And this is kind of important where his mother narrates a lot of this album. And at the start of every song, for the most part, she says something that kind of gives you an idea of what the thematic of the song is going to be. And at the beginning of this song, she talks about how Tyler, comparing Tyler to his father. Tyler, that to my knowledge, never really met his father. I know he wasn't present in his life. He lives in Africa, so Tyler never really got to see him. I don't even know if he knows who he is right now. I think, judging based off the song, I think that's the situation, but I don't know. I'm just going to let you know I cannot contextualize that fully. But regardless, this is about him longing for a father figure in his youth, and especially struggling with being compared so much to him, or feeling he's missing this. But by the end of the song, he actually comes to a resolution where he was able to get where he is without him, so why does he miss something he didn't need? Which is kind of like this track is beautiful in that, because it really makes you feel like Tyler's like lost here. His singing is incredible, and he really sounds troubled. He really brings that feeling of being like deeply bothered about this, but by the end of the track is able to come to a resolution about it, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Balloon with Doechii is, again, the production here is kind of all over the place. It takes you through several different vibes, aesthetics, and tempos, and this is one of the more spontaneous, more like just a random track. Doechii's performance here is really good. You're getting all sorts of vocal inflections, and I like this. This is a fun moment, and I hope you find your way home. The outro, beautiful. I love the synth work on this song, and it's just a beautiful way to close this album about self-growth and about owning the person that you are. Like how, again, on the earlier tracks, on Darling I, Tyler owns the fact that he's not ready to be in a relationship and he doesn't want to. He owns the fact that he's unsure if he wants to have kids, even though he is getting he's in his 30s, so he's getting a little older. He's getting to the age where many people become a father. And he owns all of this with pride, even if some people may look upon it on flaws, even if he may have hurt people or gets hurt through these feelings, he still owns it. And that's what this album is about. Owning yourself. Owning the person you are, owning your feelings, owning what you like, owning what you don't like. And he does it in such a beautiful way, and I love at points on this album he is able to express that through song and without exactly saying that. Like I mentioned on Judge, he's able to convey a great point of not judging people without saying, hey guys, like, don't judge other people. He does it through storytelling and through song, and it works so well. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it here for now. I just wanted to give you some thoughts on some of my favorite moments, some of my favorite song concepts, and what's resonating with me the most from CHROMAKOPIA. I think this album's really fucking great. And be sure to tune into my review later this week if you want the full score, if you want the full breakdown. I don't levy a lot of emphasis on my scoring for albums. I do it more so because it's a cosmetic thing on my album reviews, because if you watch any of my album reviews, you know I get down and dirty in terms of the lyrics, the song concepts, the album concepts, the themes, the production, because I like to talk about that stuff and break it down, not just put a number on it. Like I said, I will put the number for the cosmetics, but this is a review you don't want to miss because of how deep I'm going to get with it and how well I plan on breaking down every song. And if you don't believe that, go watch my Utopia review. Go watch my For All the Dog reviews. When it comes to big albums like this, I'm giving it my all. But yeah, I appreciate you guys tuning in today. I just wanted to have a little yap session about CHROMAKOPIA. tell you guys how I'm feeling it so far, but also hear from you. Please let me know in the comments. Off of your first couple of days with the project, what are you thinking? But I'll talk to you guys next time. I'll see you very soon. Deuces.